Have you ever wondered what would happen if the world lost all of its power? Everything would be going back to living in the 1800s, years where the horsepower was measured by horses and not by cars, when we lived and our light was only off of fires and candles, lamps and lanterns. Now in current times, we have electricity, and that's where we heavily rely on it. We use it for everything: our cars, our toothbrushes, for heating and cooling of our homes, for our food preparation with our microwaves, even to recharge battery-powered toothbrushes. There's nothing wrong with using electricity. To that, I would say that there's nothing wrong with it. However, where we get it from is what the issue is coming up as. Currently, fossil fuel is used to generate electricity in the major form for all electricity production, not only in the US, but in the whole entire world. According to Kansas Corporation Commission and Kansas State University Engineering Extension, in 2015, fossil fuels powered 67% of all electricity generated in the United States, with 13% coming from renewable fuels and 20% coming from nuclear energy. Right now, we are realizing that the burning of fossil fuels is creating a major factor to global warming and why a lot of our species are becoming extinct. It is predicted that the planet will run out of its fossil fuels in the next 100 years, with coal in the next 1,000 years. Why would we want to leave the next generation in a state of emergency? It can easily be taken care of with alternative energy. We're relying less on the planet's current resources and more about renewable energy. Today, I'd like to talk to you about alternative energy, something like solar panels, wind turbines, wave generators, and nuclear energy. Some of the sources may seem out of reach for a regular person, but you'd be amazed at the deals that some of these companies offer. Just for an example, we'll take a look at the solar panels. If you live in a part of the country that has a lot of sunlight, then solar panels is a great option for you to get off of fossil fuel energy and onto renewable energies. I live in New Mexico, which gets a lot of sun. According to current results, Albuquerque receives 278 days of fully and or partial sunlight during the year. By harnessing the constant renewable energy from the sun, we could produce electricity without ever running out of the fuel source. Using oil and coal to generate energy is a non-renewable source and requires finding a way to access all the coal that's in the earth, creating a lot of damage. Solar panels are now available to almost anywhere in the country. Companies are offering deals on purchasing panels that take the payout from getting your own electrical needs and harvesting the excess energy, for which the consumer would receive credit from the electrical company. One company offers air conditioning unit package with enough solar panel to power your entire regular monthly electrical use, along with a new air conditioning unit. By using currently offered rebates and other governmental incentives, you can convert to this program from what you spend monthly on the electric bill. For no additional price to you, you can find all these new solar powered options. Wind turbines, much like solar panels, have been beneficial to society. According to Liz Osborne with thecurrentresults.com, San Francisco tops in the top 13 windiest cities in the United States, with yearly averages being over 10 miles per hour. Wind turbines, while expensive to make in strategic points along the coastline and along the country, can produce outputs well above the initial price. When we talk about price, we're talking about the price on the earth for the raw materials, the energy needed to actually make these wind turbines. Wind turbines make up one of the two most common ways that the earth creates renewable energy sources. Solar panels are a renewable energy source coming from the sun, therefore the earth would create that. Because of the sun's energy output, we have a renewable source with solar panels, and because of the force of the air, we have our wind turbines and our water turbines, also known as wave generators. Wave generators take the movement of a wave and is created with high-tech devices that float on the top of the water, and as the water goes through, it moves up and down and moves the turbine to create more energy that we can use in our daily life. So this causes a very low economic impact and a very low environment impact. Wave generators could be used on the coastline around our whole country. Nuclear power gives a bad rep, understandably so, after incidents such as Chernobyl, where the land in Ukraine is still highly radioactive, enough to the point that no living thing can live on the grounds without getting exposed. A bad stigmatism has hung over nuclear power plants' heads. However, nuclear power plants are not a really good renewable source, but is surprisingly safe. Of course, there is some nuclear waste that comes with a nuclear power plant, 3 different kinds that we'll go over later. When you compare the amount of nuclear waste to the effects of fossil fuel usage for extensive times, you'll see that nuclear power plants are the obvious choice. Individuals that are against renewable energy sources like to cite that one individual's change would not change the outcome of the world. To that I agree. It is not one individual change that will lead us down a path of non-self-destruction. Instead, we would have to change the major corporations and how they receive their energy. Individual companies such as Shell, JP Morgan, Chase Banks take a large and egregious oversight of the plight of the world, that they are not only heavily reliant on fossil fuels, but routinely dump them in harmful effects on our environment. Many scientific experts give us 3 years until the Earth is gone beyond repair. Not 10, not 100, 3. When faced with such disaster, an individual push for alternative energy is akin to that of pouring a cup of water on a wildfire. However, with thousands of voices, there's still a chance to make a final push for the alternative energy. Not only we must push for ourselves, but we must push for our future generations and all those yet to come. We must not be blind to unrenewable energy sources' impact on our ecosystem. How many species must go extinct before we realize we are doing the wrong path? How much do we bleed the world dry until it give us no more? If you believe it or not, just look at the polar ice caps, the polar bears, the penguins, the seals, and everything else. They are highly endangered and are struggling for survival due to our inability to show self-restraint as a species. We push back forests to the point that we kill off tree species. We dam up rivers and we dry up lakes, killing off a multitude of different fish species and waterborne plants. How many species are either pushed to the brink of extinction or extinct because we decide that we want more than we should, that we should take more than we give? Do we live against the land, or do we live with it?